Last night, Padres, Giants, Conforto steps up to the plate. Robert Suarez, he already came in earlier than he was supposed to, like his assigned role, right? Let's say it's the 8th inning. He came in a little bit earlier than that. And Josh Hader, it seems like that would be the perfect spot for Josh Hader to be used. Michael Conforto, a lefty. You have a lefty, one of the best, if not the best lefty reliever in baseball in your bullpen. How about you call him down, ring him up in the pen, get him warm, come into the game to face someone like Michael Conforto? 4 outs, just one more out. That's all we're asking of Josh Hader. I don't believe he pitched the day before that. So it's not like he was going on back-to-back days or anything like that. You're technically, mathematically, still in it. There are Padres players like Manny Machado, even though it's like, okay, you know you're not in it, right, Manny? But they're continuing to play, and season's not over yet. Like Manny loves to keep saying that, even though we know they're not going to make the postseason. You have players in that clubhouse that are playing when they should be going and getting surgery, but Josh Hader's sitting there in the bullpen and not really making himself available for 4 outs. He said post game that he is available, but he's only available on his terms. He's not going to say that, but he's only available on his terms because he didn't go into the game there in that 8th inning. Suarez obviously gives up the game, gives up the lead. Padres, they lose 2-1. And then post game, Bob Melvin has to sit there and try to defend Josh Hader, defend his players, even though this isn't a Bob Melvin decision, obviously. If you watched or listened to Bob Melvin's post-game presser from yesterday, you will realize that this was not a Bob Melvin decision to be like, yeah, I'm not going to use Josh Hader. Josh Hader's sitting there in the bullpen, but yeah, no, I'm good. Not going to use him. And so here is this post-game. Bob Melvin clearly, he wants to use Josh Hader. Just listen. You can see his expressions for the YouTube audience. You can hear his tone. Here is Bob Melvin.
You asked Suarez for 4 outs.
Yeah.
Hader could have been that guy against the lefty there. Is that just him going 3 outs?
That's what we're doing right now. Yeah.
And why is that?
It's because the way we've handled it here.
Is there any discussion with him? Is there any thought?
We talked to him some, yeah.
That would seem to kind of run counter to the. I mean, you were saving him earlier in the season for later in the year, and here we are now, and it's obviously getting very late.
That's just the way it happened tonight.
Yeah, so there you go, Bob Melvin. If you saw those facial expressions, even if you were just hearing it for the podcast audience, like it's pretty clear there that Bob Melvin wants to say something more. He's just not saying it because he's in protect mode. He's protecting his players. That's just what he does. He's not going to go say to the media on camera, yeah, I wanted to use Josh Hader, but Josh is so soft that I'm just not. He told me I'm not going to pitch for 4 outs. Season's over, so I'm not going to do that. He's not going to say that to the media, right? He's just going to say, yeah, that's just the situation we were in. But Josh Hader threw himself under the bus. It wasn't Bob Melvin that was given the opportunity and didn't do it. He didn't have to. Josh Hader did it himself. This, according to AJ Cassavell, there were different kind of versions of quotes here. We don't have like the full audio, I don't believe, of Josh Hader. But I'll start with AJ Cassavell and the things that he said or that he tweeted out here last night when Josh Hader was speaking to the media. Josh Hader asked his thinking behind not making himself available for 4 outs. Quote, it's the situation that we were at, end quote. That kind of sounds like Bob Melvin, right? Asked to clarify, he said, are we in the playoff race? Technically, yes, AJ says, but it would take a miracle, to which he said, you guys want me to do everything. Asked if he was looking to the offseason with his decision to limit himself, he says, it has nothing to do with the offseason. It's the now. It's the health. It's the making it through the entire season. 162 games is not an easy task to do. You see guys work overloads. They get injured. Josh Hader's he's acting like the Padres are asking him to go pitch 200 innings. That's not the case at all. It's like the opposite. They've allowed him to pitch like once a week for weeks here. Once a week, twice a week. He's pitched back to back to back days a few times this season. There are so many other relievers that have done that way more than Josh Hader. And Kevin Acee here in the San Diego Union Tribune, I'll have to find it, in his Padres Daily, he also talked about Josh Hader and some of the quotes, and he had some more quotes here about what Josh Hader said. Are we in a playoff race? That's the one that I already hit on there. Melvin talking about, yeah, we talked to him some, but Hader, I guess, said that he had not discussed this about him pitching last night. He also said here, according to Kevin Acee, the situation that we were at relative to the postseason played into his not being available. Are we in a playoff race? Yes, and then Kevin obviously goes into how big of a stretch it would be. How much would have to be in the Padres' favor to the Padres for them to make the postseason, obviously. He was asked if next year will change, like his availability, because he will get his money, his guaranteed contract. We'll see when next year comes. It has nothing to do with the offseason. It's health. It's making it through a whole entire season. 162, not an easy task to do. When you guys see guys that work overloads, they get injured. But the Padres are not asking him to work overloads here. He continues saying, always 4 outs, isn't it? Of what like the media is asking of Josh Hader. 3 in a row, always something. I mean, I'm not sure what you guys want. It's the same thing every time. Hader says, hypothetically, if I could pitch 7 innings, I would. Hypothetically, if I could throw 105 miles per hour, I would. There are a lot of hypotheticals we could put on the table. So that quote, to me, it's like, so if you could pitch 4 outs, you would. So are you not physically able to pitch 4 outs? But you tell the media, I'm available, but then you don't pitch 4 outs. There's sometimes this season where you go back to back to back days, but then there's sometimes where you don't pitch 4 outs. Are you available to pitch 4 outs? Because in some of these quotes, you're making it seem like you're not available. Hypothetically, if I could pitch 7 innings, I would. Hypothetically, if I could throw 105, I would. Hypothetically, he didn't say this, but so hypothetically, if you could pitch 4 outs, you would? Would you? Would you? And the quote about him, about the Padres postseason standing. Are we in the playoff race? It's the situation that we're at. Are we in the playoff race? You guys want me to do everything. No, Josh. We don't want you to do everything. We want you to just do your job. Bob Melvin is not asking you to do something that you're probably not capable of doing. He's not asking you to go be a starting pitcher. He's not asking you to pitch 3 innings out of the bullpen. He's asking you for 4 outs, or he wants you to do 4 outs. Give the Padres 4 outs, or pitch in the 8th inning. If you can't finish the 9th, okay, we'll deal with Ray Kerr or whoever. But just do your job. You're getting paid $14 million, more money than we will ever see in our lifetimes, right? And you're sitting there pretty much this isn't Bob Melvin. Clearly, this is not Bob Melvin. This is Josh Hader sitting there giving the Padres what he is going to do, like telling the Padres what he is going to do. Who is the manager of this team? Who runs this team? Is it Josh Hader? Evidently, it is about his role. And that's what pisses me off. You don't trade him before the trade deadline when you could have gotten something back for him, and then you just waste him the rest of the year, or he wastes himself because he puts limits on when he can pitch and how many outs he can pitch. It's so annoying. It is so annoying. And some people might sound hypocritical because we say with Manny, it's like, Manny, just tell the truth. I don't want you saying that, oh, the season's not over yet when we all know it's over. But then when Josh Hader says, are we in the playoff race? People get mad. Like, that sounds hypocritical. I get that. But Josh, that's just not something that you're supposed to say like publicly, you know? I think it's okay for people to get pissed off at Manny not being honest and just say, hey, just go get the surgery. Why are you continuing to play? Just go get the surgery. And I think it's okay for people to get pissed off that there's players in that clubhouse that continue to have the quitting mentality. It's not just this year. It's not just Josh Hader. Manny Machado admitted it after the 2019 season about, pretty much giving up at the end of 2019. The Eric Hosmer stuff, right? It's not just this year. Sean Manaea last year. When he signs with the Giants, he admits, just wasn't in the best shape. Yeah, probably could have tried a little bit harder, essentially what he was saying. And he learned his lesson. Well, you were in the middle of a pennant race and you weren't working hard enough. Are you kidding me? Why is that happening to Padres players? Juan Soto earlier this season, admitting about quitting when they get down in games. Xander Bogaerts had a quote a little bit earlier this season about that. Manny Machado just recently said that to the media. I think it was to Kevin Acee. He recently said, we didn't want it bad enough. Why? You didn't want it bad enough? Are you kidding me? You don't have a motivation? And then you got Josh Hader sitting here and saying, nope, essentially probably telling the Padres, 3 outs, 9th inning. That's when you use me. Are we in the playoff race? You guys want me to do everything. That's such a bad look. And that you're going into a free agency this offseason, Josh. Why in the world would you say that? This isn't just about the Padres, but for Josh Hader as well. Why in the world would you say that? Teams will use that against you. You thought you were stuff was being used against you in arbitration. People will use that against you in free agency. That you sat there on the San Diego Padres and were complaining about usage. And you were complaining to the media that the media wants you to pitch 4 outs every once in a while. I mean, dude, you're getting paid $14 million. So, I'm not going to miss that guy. I am not going to miss Josh Hader. Great talent when he's on the mound. When he is on the mound, amazing talent. But this quitting mentality, this mentality of not being a team player. I mean, Blake Snell, I got pissed off when he was talking about his ERA, right? Earlier on, I forget if it was September or August, but he was talking about his ERA. Yeah, we'll get that checked. Even though I knew those errors shouldn't have been errors, or they should have been errors, and they weren't errors, and the ERA should have been lower than what it was. Those shouldn't have been earned runs towards Snell. I understood that, but that's not something that you say publicly, right? Josh Hader, you don't say this publicly. You don't complain about usage. Are we in the playoff race? It's the situation that we're at. That's why I'm not making myself available for 4 outs. You don't say that publicly because it's not like the entire team is saying, we're not in the playoff race. It's not like Manny went and got the surgery and everyone else is on the same page, we're not in the playoff race, whatever. No, you got Manny Machado, who's viewed as the leader of the clubhouse, still playing and still going out there. You got Juan Soto playing in every single game this season. You got Tatis continuing to play. You got guys that are playing hurt. But then you have guys like Josh Hader in the same clubhouse, admitting, pretty much, season's over. I'm only pitching for 3 outs. I'm not making myself available for the 8th inning, even though it's clear that, you would be the better guy to pitch in that spot to help the team win than a tired Robert Suarez, who, by the way, was doing his best job of being a teammate, his best version of being a teammate by not just pitching the 8th inning, by coming in, I believe, in the 7th inning in last night's game. Just terrible look. And these quotes, I have a list of quotes by Padres players that I'm going to release at the end of this season. And it's just bad quote after bad quote after bad quote. You're telling me there's not someone in that organization that can sit the Padres players down and be like, do you realize the dumb stuff that you have said to the media here and how much of a bad look this has been? Do you realize what you're saying here? And I get pissed off at times when Manny's just saying the same old, keep playing baseball, right? But I'd rather have that than, I guess, players doing what Josh Hader did and what Juan Soto said. I mean, I like the honesty. I know I'm sounding hypocritical, I guess, right? I like the honesty from guys when they admit that they're quitting, but you shouldn't be doing that. That's the problem here. You should not be having that mindset, right? You should not be having that mindset. So, that definitely pissed me off. And Bomel, for anyone that still is on the Bomel train of fire that guy, and you don't think that he knows what he's doing? I mean, you're probably hopping off that train now, right? I would think you're hopping off that train because clearly Bob Melvin is handcuffed. Clearly he's handcuffed. With Josh Hader, you got guys in spring training saying, yeah, I've told Bob, don't hit me in this spot in the order. Why? You already got your money. Why are you going to Bob Melvin and the Padres organization and saying, don't hit me in that spot? No, you're not the coach. Go do whatever the manager says. You already got your $200, $300 million. Hit wherever the heck he wants you to hit. You know, like it's just, oh my gosh. Can we be team players here? Please. Can we switch that mentality and be team players here? And not give up when things get tough? When you get down in games, how about don't give up? How about make yourself flexible? And maybe you only want to pitch 3 innings or 3 outs, I should say, Josh Hader. But then go tell the Padres coaches, you have me for 3 outs. That's it. But pitch me. I'll pitch whenever. Highest leverage situation. Okay, I'll pitch 3 outs right there. But to save yourself for the 9th inning, 3 outs only. This is when I pitch, even though the better team player guy would say, no, I'll go another out. This will actually make myself more valuable in free agency because I will say, I didn't want to pitch for that 4th out there, that last out in the 8th, but it was being a team player, and I am willing to do that because I want to win. I care about winning. You look at the Aaron Judge quotes with the New York Yankees, and he's talking about how if I'm sitting here talking to the media at the end of the year and we're not making the playoffs, we're not winning that World Series, it's a failure. Things have to change. A lot of things have to change. I have some ideas talking about how the Yankees can improve, right? I want to hear that from people in the Padres clubhouse. Logan Webb, he was the guy that's not going to go win the Cy Young this year. He's not getting as much publicity as Blake Snell because Snell's going to go win the Cy Young. But Logan Webb yesterday, after the game, he's tired of losing. He says winning the Cy Young, not a priority. I mean, here's Logan Webb. To be honest, winning is more important. If we don't do that, then it's kind of a waste. That's my goal. I'm tired of losing. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. We have to make some big changes in here to create that winning culture that we want to show up every single year and try to win the whole thing. Where is that coming from inside the Padres clubhouse? I'm not seeing a whole lot of that. I'm not seeing enough of that. That's for sure. It's just, just dumb quote after dumb quote after dumb quote. And it's been a lot of Padres players. It just hasn't been 1 or 2 Padres players. It's been a lot of Padres players that have just said the dumbest things possible. It's like, do you realize what you're saying here? Or you just don't care? And if you don't care, that's obviously a problem. And they don't, and some of them don't care clearly with some of the things that they have said this year. And hopefully that mentality changes.